Gameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you our Division II Game of the Week preview between the Northwest Missouri State Bearcats and the Pittsburg State Gorillas. Now let's take a look at some keys to victory for both teams, starting with the Bearcats.
Let's look at the Bearcats in this game, and when you're facing an option team, it's important that you don't beat yourself offensively, because it's all about possessions and maximizing them, because you won't get as many opportunities as you would versus any other opponent. But there's no doubt in my mind that the Bearcats are led by quarterback Trevor Adams, who does a great job in spreading the wealth, will be able to keep this offense on pace this week versus Pittsburg State. Defensively, I'm a big fan of the Bearcats defense. They do a great job of applying pressure, and they're constantly playing on your side of the line of scrimmage. They have 34 TFLs on the season. This week, it's a different animal as they're going against a potent option attack in Pittsburg State. So defensive end Matt Longacre and company are going to have to make sure they play assignment first defense in order to be successful. Now let's move over to the Gorillas in this ball game. Their offense already does a great job at controlling the tempo and the pace of a game. You look at running back Jeff Sabo, he's running strong. Quarterback Anthony Abe is making excellent decisions in the option game as well as throwing the football, but their offensive line is playing great so far this season. They're really blowing teams off the ball. Defensively, they need a big day from their secondary as Northwest Missouri State to try to spread the field and attack them vertically. And they bend but don't break on defense, and they can do the same thing this week, but they have to make sure they don't break in the red zone. They already have excellent red zone defense, so it'll be interesting to see what defensive calls they make this week versus the Bearcats, who can really put points on the board. Now here are some coaching points you want to keep an eye on in this ball game. For Northwest Missouri State, you want to mirror John Brown, their talented wide receiver, with your outstanding defensive back and best man-to-man corner, Brandon Dixon. That should be a great battle throughout the course of this ball game. And you want to maintain gap discipline. That goes without saying when you're facing an option attack. And on offense, you want to get your guards to the second level. We know Pitt State runs a 4-2-5. You have the advantage in running the football. It's imperative that those guards get to the second level on those backers. And for the Gorillas in this ball game, I will go with more misdirection in the option game this week, just to try to generate a big play on the ground. Now look at the big matchup on that defensive line for the Gorillas, and Avery Adair, their outstanding defensive end, going against the left tackle Shane Smith. That's a battle Adair is going to have to win more often than not throughout the course of this game. And Nate Dreiling, the outstanding linebacker, is going to have to drill the running game. If they're going to get Northwest Missouri State off the field, they're going to have to stop the run first, then play great pass defense, and it's up to Dreiling to make sure the running game doesn't happen for the Bearcats this week. The X factor for the Bearcats in this game will be their third down defense. We know an option attack does a great job in winning on first and second down, and it's all about stopping third and short. And if they can get off the field, it goes a long way in helping these guys win this ball game. And the X factor for Pittsburg State will be the other receiving options. I'm pretty sure the Bearcats will try their best to take away John Brown, which would mean the other guys have to step up and make plays. Gavin Lutman, Marquise Cushion, those guys consistently making plays to draw that double coverage away from Brown, so that way that passing game could be that much more dangerous this week versus the Bearcats. Now here are some 2014 draft prospects you want to keep an eye on in this ball game. For Northwest Missouri State, Brandon Dixon, like I've said before, one of the best cornerbacks at the Division II level, 6 feet, 200 pounds, definitely what you want in man-to-man coverage. Also does a great job in off coverage. And we look at Pittsburg State, two guys that have been the top players on this football team for the last 3 seasons. Nate Dreiling at 6'4", 235, one of the best linebackers in the country regardless of division, and John Brown, an explosive dynamo, a guy that can do it as a returner and also as a slot receiver. Head coach Matt Jeersman is definitely a campus legend. He coached there from 1994 to 2010, and in his first season, they went 0-11, and he went on to compile a 183-43 record, 12 conference titles, and 3 national championships. When a stadium bears your name, you're definitely a campus legend, and Carney Smith coached Pittsburg State from 1949 to 1966 and captured 2 NAIA titles, 6 conference titles, and compiled a 116-52-6 career record. I like Pittsburg State in this ballgame. That option attack is tough to prepare for in 1 week, and their defense, although it's not as dominant as we're used to seeing, this is still a very good defensive football team. So I think they'll not only slow down what Northwest Missouri State wants to do on offense, but they'll also chew up the TOP with that option game and come away victorious in the 2013's version of the Fall Classic.